Let's talk about something really important today. We're going to get into a story that honestly shines a huge spotlight on a major flaw in our society, that massive, dangerous gap between our systems of care. So, what happens when the very systems that are supposed to help us just don't connect? This right here, this is where our story begins. It's a blunt, painful statement from a parent, and it's a reality we really need to try and understand. Now, obviously, we have to respect the family and the legal situation, so we're not going to dive into the specific details of the case. But this personal crisis, it's a doorway to a much, much bigger conversation that we absolutely need to be having. So, yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to use this family's experience to talk about that bigger picture, an issue that, believe me, affects countless other people. To really get what's going on, we have to look beyond all the clinical labels and just see the person at the heart of this. What is it actually like to live with these diagnoses every single day? On paper, the young man we're talking about has a pretty complex set of diagnoses. You see things like intellectual disability, autism, PTSD, bipolar disorder, and other serious medical issues. But, these words, they really only tell you a tiny part of the story. So, what does all that actually mean for him? Well, for one, it means that stress, it just lands differently. It's got a weight and intensity that's probably hard for a lot of us to even wrap our heads around. And fear? It's not just a passing feeling. Imagine fear with the volume turned all the way up. It can be a constant, overwhelming roar in your head. And this might be the most crucial part. When he gets confused, it's not like just being a little fuzzy on the details. For him, that confusion can feel as solid and as true as reality itself. And of course, that's going to shape how he acts and reacts to everything. Okay, so now that we have a little more insight into the person, let's look at the fractured world he has to navigate. It's like a world split right in two, with this huge, dangerous gap in the middle. See, on one side, you've got the medical system. That's the world of doctors, therapists, specialists. It's where families go looking for help, for treatment, for some kind of support. And then on the other side, you've got the legal system. And that is way too often where these families end up when that support system breaks down and a crisis hits. And here it is. This is the heart of the problem, the fundamental flaw. These two massive, essential systems, they operate in their own little worlds. They just do not talk to each other. So what happens when a person with really complex needs falls into that gap between these two worlds? Well, the result is tragically predictable, and it's often absolutely devastating. Let's just break it down. It's a simple but heartbreaking chain reaction. When you don't have coordinated care, it's not just some bureaucratic headache. It literally sets the stage for a crisis. It's not a matter of if, but when. So when that crisis inevitably happens, who's the first to show up? It's often not a healthcare professional. It's law enforcement. And the tools they have aren't meant for de-escalation or medical support. Their tools are handcuffs. The response becomes about punishment, not help. It is so easy in these situations to start pointing fingers, to fall back on those old, tired narratives of bad kids or bad parents. But that's just a massive, dangerous oversimplification. The real truth, the core of it all, isn't about some personal failing. It's about a fundamental mismatch. It's about individuals with incredibly complex needs crashing headfirst into systems that are broken and just not built to handle them. Okay, so understanding the problem is step one. But what does a better path actually look like? What are the solutions here? A better way forward has to tackle this from all sides. We desperately need a better crisis response, one that's focused on health and safety. We need far better medical coordination. We need a deeper, more genuine understanding of disability. And we've got to have a better understanding of trauma. And why is all of this so critical? It all comes down to this one simple, undeniable fact. Punishment doesn't treat an illness. You can't lock away a disability. It's just the wrong tool for the job, every single time. And now for a moment, I want to talk directly to the families who are living this, day in and day out. The whole reason for sharing such a painful and vulnerable story is to try and break through that feeling of isolation that so many families have, to let them know that someone sees them, that their struggle is real and it's understood. So if you are one of those parents who feels like you're not doing enough, if you're a family that feels like you've just hit a brick wall, This is the message you need to hear, loud and clear. You are not failing. The failure is not on you. The failure lies in the systems that were supposed to be a safety net, but are so full of holes where communication and coordination ought to be. We're going to end on this. It's a simple idea, but it's so powerful. Care should come before cuffs. That needs to be the guiding principle for every policy, every interaction, every single response. The real question for all of us is, what are we going to do to make that a reality?